Hey, welcome back to the About the Labor podcast here at VikingsTerritory.com. I am BJ Reidell, back here with my guy Drew Mahowald, and we're talking Vikings football, a game that actually happened recently today. Not talking about stuff that happened 9 months ago. No more living in the past. We're talking about preseason week 1. It doesn't matter at all, but we're still talking about it because can't wait for the regular season. Honestly, that's what it comes down to. I'm just hyped. So let's just get right into this. Let's knock out the sponsor note real quick and just talk some Vikings football straight through. Blackstack Brewing, brand new brewery smack dab in the middle of Minneapolis and St. Paul with a wide range of flavorful brews and a massive bright tap room, perfect for intimate settings, all the way to special events. Blackstack Brewing, 755 North Pryor, just north of Menards, off of University Avenue. And then our sponsor, of course, Twin Cities Directory. Big shout out to them. Best way to explore delicious bites and fun-filled nights. Fun little rhyme there by the script that he wrote out for me. That Minneapolis and St. Paul have to offer. Check it out at www.twincities.directory. That's www.twincities.directory, helping you discover the real Twin Cities. All right, let's talk some Vikings football stuff. Drew, let's just start. I'll preface this by saying we're going to get into our regular scheduled programming now. As with with the season arriving, Drew and I have been planning for this for about 15 minutes, and we have a general idea of what the layout's going to be. So the show after games on Sunday, obviously, if it's games on Monday, we'll recap it on Monday. It'll be like our instant reaction. The basic stuff, what we saw and what we were able to kind of analyze initially. I like to go back and watch the film 1 or 2 times just because I truly don't think you have any idea what happened in a football game until you actually look for specific things instead of just hoping the ball goes into the end zone. So
right.
That will be Sunday's show. Wednesday should be the fun one every week. It's going to be the analysis show. We're going to do a lot of fun stuff with that. Hopefully, we're going to try and get some video going and get some film review up. So look forward to those. I'm really pumped to break this horrible football game down on Wednesday here. Then Friday will be the preview show every single week. So Seattle Seahawks next week. We'll talk all about Cam Chancellor, my favorite player, Richard Sherman, at that point in time. But for right now, let's talk some Buffalo Bills, Minnesota Vikings. They really blew the barn doors open today. That offensive performance by both squads, lights out. These guys are ready for week 1. Both teams here.
That's how it is usually in the preseason. You see a lot of MVP type offensive performances.
I'm glad you addressed that immediately because the defense is always going to be ahead of the offense, and consequently, the defense is going to win the battles in the first preseason game, which by design, it's to work out the kinks. So let's just preface the entire show by making that point first here. I saw way too many overreactions today. I'm disappointed. I know that it was none of our listeners overreacting because you guys are way too smart and way too knowledgeable to say absolutely stupid stuff after, 4 snaps. So let's talk about good stuff, though. Obviously, like I just said, really, really bad football game. I'll be frank. I honestly, there are very few phases of the game that went well. I don't see a positive grade from the special teams or the offense. Offense is a flat-out F in my opinion. Nobody looked good except for maybe Dalvin Cook, which I'm sure we'll probably be talking about quite a bit here given that the Vikings did everything in their hands to make sure they got to see what this dude offers at the NFL level. So we'll talk a little bit about him. That's really the only thing on the agenda here. Defense, good. I mean, like I just said, defense is always ahead of the offense, and it showed. Everson Griffin got right out there, and you saw that sack on my guy Chantrell. I warned him. I told him. I said to him, you got to watch out for Daniil Hunter, and here he's playing left tackle, and Everson's blowing right by him. Welcome back to the league, Mr. Chantrell Henderson. Drew, your instant reactions. I asked you this about 2 minutes ago, and then I started talking again. Just your overall.
That's usually what happens with you. Yeah,
it's typical. It's typical. Part of my charm. Let's call it that. Your overall reactions from this game. We've talked about this a little bit, obviously on the VT roundtable prior here. Just what are your thoughts? I mean, football's back. That's good news.
That's the main thought is football's back. If you're taking much more than that away from this, especially as if you look at the team as a whole, where this team is offensively, where this team is defensively, if you actually take something away from it in that aspect, I think you're thinking about it too much. the one thing I just looked at was there was a few players that I think helped their cases for either playing time or for a roster spot. Obviously Dalvin Cook is en route to a starting job at the running back position. I thought he looked like a feature back. And then a few other guys that stood out for me as had good performances. Stacey Coley, very polished as a route runner, made himself available to both Keenum and Heineke. Tayshawn Bauer was excellent. My dark horse pick for Mr. Mankato, all over the place.
I do know that pick to get cut before the initial 90-man cut was Tayshawn Bauer, by the way. So historic moment, really, really wrong about Tayshawn Bauer. I'll eat that.
And I was right.
Yeah, you were right. I was wrong.
Right.
I already tweeted it out. I let the.
By the way, that is an interesting situation because he might be at the point now, even after it, because it's not just fans that overreact, but teams overreact.
You got to save him.
If he is tried, if he's
Taylor Heineke syndrome.
Yeah, if they keep him on the practice squad, or if they try to, he could get swiped by another team.
Dallas is going to take him. That's what they do. They take our good players and then they send us guys that are 40 years old and way past their prime. Let's talk about Tayshawn Bauer. I mean, I got to see him play a little bit here. Obviously, I'm gonna say this to you guys straight up because I'm always honest with you. I watched about 2.5 quarters of this football game. I did not know the final score until about 45 minutes ago because I was out at my guy Brennan Gay's stand-up comedy show out at the Joke Joint Comedy Club. Fantastic show, by the way. You guys really missed out if you didn't go. You blew it. You absolutely blew it for a preseason.
You blew it.
You blew it. But Tayshawn Bauer, I did see some good things from him. I mean, I have to eat my words straight up. I mean, I know it's just one preseason game, and I'm preaching don't overreact. But what you can react to and what you should react to is things that could become trends, right? Good things that players do that you can look forward to and see if they do it again next week. And man, Tayshawn Bauer, pretty much across the board, it's like if he does this, if he keeps doing this, why can't he beat Danielle Hunter? Why can't he?
Right. I mean, the thing was, he was being technically sound when that was like the last thing anybody ever expected.
Exactly.
I mean, even in run defense, there was a couple plays where he used those long arms and he would hold them out at full length and hold the offensive lineman right in place, and then he'd wait for the running back to come and try and take advantage of the hole there, and then he'd throw him to the side with those long arms and make the play. And he made it look so easy. He made it. I mean, he played it as if he was a 4 or 5 year veteran, and he's really a 22, 21-year-old who has. I mean, he technically is an LSU alum, but he did not play enough to almost call himself that as far as an LSU football alum. So, I mean, the athleticism's there. Obviously, the size is there. But the technique and the fundamentals were the big question marks, and obviously you have to have those to be successful. He's starting to show that, and it's apparent. I mean, he's growing and developing much faster than I think anybody ever expected. Even as a guy that kind of was on that Danielle Hunter path.
Yeah, it's so lazy to just say he's from LSU, he's super athletic, he's got long limbs. This is Danielle Hunter. Yeah. I mean, that's horse shit analysis, and it's working. So that pisses me off because I was right on the money. Dude gets washed out of plays. It happened at training camp. I mean,
yeah, it did.
You're right, but my line of thinking was
you were right, but now you're not right. I'm
honestly,
right now.
Your confidence right now is pissing me off. I kind of hope that he gets hurt so he gets sent to IR and the Vikings can hold on. Vikings can hold on to him for an entire year, and then next year I can be like, all right, he's going to be good this year, right? Because we saw flashes. There you go. That's how I'm going to get out of this one. Tayshawn Bauer overall extremely impressive. Really excited to check out the All 22 on him and give you guys some real hardcore football nerd analysis on Wednesday because like I said, he just looks so much better than I ever thought this guy was going to be. I did not see the fundamentals. I did not see the knowledge of the game. I did not see the pass rushing talent. Just to get in there and do some damage, I thought he was going to get manhandled. I thought this was going to be the welcome to the league moment where I go on Twitter and start telling you guys that I'm right to piss you off because that's what I do. But the exact opposite happened. And good for Tayshaun Bauer, man. I mean, this defensive end depth, how much fun is this going to be? If you got 4 or 5 guys, Weatherly included, who had a great training camp,
yeah.
I mean, these guys can hit the quarterback. This is like, I don't care if you only score 17 points if they're not getting any points either.
Right, and that's the thing here now, too, is with this defensive end position, I mean, do you keep 5 now?
I think you
have to. Because you can't get rid of Weatherly either, so you have to have, Griffin, Hunter, Robinson, Bauer, and Weatherly. I mean,
I mentioned this in the game preview post on how the decisions that Mike Zimmer and George Edwards and co. are going to be making are not just cut and dry, like, all right, let's keep the best 53 guys. You got to keep in mind, like, if you get rid of Tayshaun Bauer, there are so many football teams that can't rush the passer, and it's arguably the other than the quarterback, the premium position in the NFL right now. He's showing flashes of being very good when he, can legally drink. The Vikings can't cut him if they want to keep him. They can't. Mm-hmm. There's not an option. It's what happened with Taylor Heineke 2 years ago. He flashed in Tennessee. Everyone needs a quarterback. Why not take a flyer on the guy with potential, throw him on your practice squad or your 53 because you're San Francisco and half your players are trash anyways. Why not just pick up the scraps from a good football team? Like why wouldn't they? Tayshaun Bauer, if he gets cut, he's going to land somewhere immediately, which kind of leads me to a point that I do want to address. Bishop Sankey, I feel horrible for this dude. I talked about this at training camp with Drew, on the podcast and whatnot. This is literally his audition right now to sign with another football team. Like the last 2 quarters of this football game was basically supposed to be Bishop Sankey time, where he can show why he was a second-round pick, why Tennessee thought that he was going to be the guy in their backfield. And now he's hurt, and I don't know how long he's going to be out. I haven't read the report. Obviously, I didn't know the score of the football game, so why would I know what the report on his health is? But just in general here, that sucks. Injuries suck. Football sucks. I mean, Trey Wayne's going down. That's something we could talk about as well. Hopefully it sounds like he's going to be okay.
Initial reports are positive, but still you don't like to see injuries in preseason when games don't really matter.
That's like the thing you want to avoid in the preseason, right? Number 1, stay healthy. Number 2, get better. And the Vikings did neither tonight. So I know they won on the scoreboard, but the scoreboard doesn't matter. So
Mike Zimmer's not going in the locker room going, well, great job, boys. We got a W. You're all right. Let's go take a few days off and celebrate.
It was ugly, but we won. No, it was, you guys suck. We're running all of tomorrow. Mike Remmers, don't even show up if you can't pass block. Like, it was, like I said, there's no reason to overreact, but at the same time, like, it sucks because you watch Remmers, and it's like, if he does this again week 2 now, then you got to be like, all right, when he starts playing against one-on-ones in the week 3 against San Francisco, when kind of you actually get real competitive football for about 2 quarters, and he starts, looking like trash, then Cameron Jordan is going to eat him alive, and the Saints are going to be able to rush the passer, which they can't normally do, and the Vikings are going to be in trouble because they can air it out, they can throw the football around. We know how good Michael Thomas is. I know Vikings Twitter loves Michael Thomas because Treadwell sucks. So, I mean, that's scary to me. So I get that. I understand that point. But let's just take it back a notch and just remember the reason they're here is to get better, to be ready for Sean Payton and co.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's the most important thing. I mean, look, it's the nature of people to overreact to something like this when they're so emotionally invested in something like a favorite football team or whatever it is.
Hilarious, by the way. It's really ironic that we love a football team that the guys could not care less about us realistically, but we love them. I know.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I don't want to tell people how to be a fan because I feel like that's kind of rude. But yeah. I'm personally just going to sit here and be like, well, this game doesn't matter. There were a few cool things that happened in the game. There was Tayshaun Bauer playing really well. There was Eric Wilson playing and flying around everywhere. Mm-hmm. Ben Gideon made some plays. There were things that happened that will affect the team and who makes the team and who gets playing time and all that. But beyond that, it doesn't really matter. It was cool to see the purple and gold uniforms on. That's basically
That should be
the main takeaway here.
I like that that's your main takeaway because, if you guys followed me on Twitter today, I had a Twitter rebirth because I was amped about football starting at about 8 in the morning. I'm pumped, man. Just having football back in my life, just astronomically happier on a day-to-day basis that I don't have to watch a game and, from 9 months ago and hope it translates to this season and try to come up with some sort of metric that Jason Brown likes on Twitter so I can satisfy him. It's just like I'm just pumped to have football back. All my other takeaways pretty negative, and that's fine. That's totally fine. I just hope that Mike Zimmer went in there and just started yelling because
see, here's the difference between me and you. The difference between me and you. So you came up with a bunch of negative takeaways, but most of my takeaways are positive. But it doesn't affect my overall look at the season is still more pessimistic than yours is, which, I don't know how. That's just an observation, I guess.
That's
it doesn't
how
really
football
mean
fans are. We don't make sense when we have an emotional, like you just said, an emotional reaction. Yeah, it's probably not going to make a whole lot of sense if we're not being objective about it. So, I don't know, man. I just my general line of thinking always preseason football, only game that matters at all for the top 53, the guys that are going to be starting football games this season. Week 3, just to get the rust off. You got to expect guys like Pat Elflein to struggle. He probably is freaking out. This is the first time he's been on a damn football field before in the NFL. Imagine being in his situation. You're the guy to fix the interior offensive line for the worst offensive line ever, and he steps in there, and he's a little nervous. That's what preseason football is for, is to get that out of the way so that when Ben Gideon is staring down those pass rushers in New Orleans, he's thinking about the fact that he's going to be making more money on his second contract. Those are the biggest takeaways here. Other than the injuries, let's talk a little bit about Trey Waynes. Like you just said here, the initial report is good on Trey Waynes. Sounds like the shoulder is not going to be a significant issue.
For what it's worth, he got beat pretty badly twice in a row by Sammy Watkins before.
I didn't think Watkins was going to play, by the way. I was kind of shocked to see him on the field.
That's true.
Good for him for being healthy for one football game this year at least. Waynes, I've said this on the show plenty of times here. I really expect this is the year that he's going to break out. I think the fact that we saw Terrence Newman come in as the second outside corner means that Mike Zimmer's kind of, time to take the training wheels off, time to be a first-round pick, time to shut up the Marcus Peters haters. It's time. And this sucks. It's just horrible timing. There's nothing else you could say about injuries. You can't predict them. You can't project them. You don't wish them on people unless it's Tayshaun Bauer and you're trying to be right. It sucks. It just sucks. And there's nothing I can say that, I can analyze it and be like, this is an optimistic thing. We got more reps from Mackenzie Alexander on the outside. Great. Dude, it sucks still. Trey, young, hungry, ready to roll. This is going to set him back at least a week. At the very least, he's going to be missing some practice time. Head in the playbook where he really seems like he's pretty good on the playbook thing. It just needs to work on his knee-jerk reactions at the line of scrimmage. Needs to definitely improve against good route runners and guys that can really match you on speed. Guys like Sammy Watkins. Basically, if Trey Waynes doesn't have his makeup speed right now, he's in trouble, and that's a sign that I'm going to be looking for in the future whenever he plays again. Because
I'm not I'm not that concerned, to be honest. If Mike Zimmer did not seem worried at all, which you can't get a whole lot of information from Zimmer when he talks about injuries.
He doesn't have emotions, so
yeah. Right. But the thing about this is, for one, it doesn't sound like it's too bad from initial reports, from initial responses from the media and the coaching staff. But the other hand is Terrence Newman can still play football. He's not a terrible backup option to have here for Waynes. So if it happens that Waynes needs a few weeks off to rest, Newman comes in and is the other starting corner, and you still have Mackenzie Alexander in the slot, and you have you still have Smith and Sendejo at safety. That's still a pretty rock solid secondary, and in a secondary that was very, very good last season. So, obviously it'd be nice to have Waynes out there, but
nice to have Captain Bunnerland back right now.
Right, if you have to have Newman out there for a game or two, or just maybe it's just one preseason week, yeah, it's fine, whatever.
Yeah, the thing there is that I'm not concerned about the depth as a result of the, quote, Wayne's injury. I'm just concerned about, look, we wasted another first-round pick. Because if he's hurt, and this is not, I don't think this is an overreaction because the Vikings run a ton of press man. If he can't push off of his shoulder, like if this is a nagging thing for him, that's going to affect him, and then he's going to start thinking too much, which that's what killed him, and then he gets grabby, and then we're going to start talking about the flags again. It's just a downward spiral that, again, I'm looking for trends here, not, saying this is going to happen, but I am nervous. It's gotten to the point where he needs to step up and perform this year, and it's not getting off to a great start.
Right. I mean, look, I understand, and the whole first-round pick thing, that we should probably focus a little bit on the fact that Laquan Treadwell didn't play tonight,
Of course.
And it doesn't look like he's going to be back soon from what we've heard, and the fact that he didn't, we went to training camp, what was it, Thursday, a week ago.
Yeah.
And he literally hasn't put on pads since we were there. So, it's Rick Spielman, the fact that he's able to hit so well with these mid-round picks and, second, third, fourth, fifth-round picks all the time it kind of makes up for it. So it is what it is. It's kind of a wash there.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about just kind of the general feel of the football game. I'm bringing this up because Jay Cutler, which, for the record, love Jay Cutler as in interviews at press conferences. Fantastic.
He's a bro.
Fantastic content. Hashtag content. I thought the feel for the game, like the rest of the team, was just generally a little bit off. Like Sam Bradford was checking it down again. It didn't seem like he had, really progressed like we saw at training camp. We saw, visible on-hand progression from Sam Bradford in terms of more explosive plays at training camp. There's enough articles around the league about that. And he was throwing short of the sticks by, as far back as he possibly could on third down. I understand not wanting to throw a pick, but if you're going to turn the ball over on a punt, throw it 40 yards downfield, and if it gets picked off, that's just a punt in itself. Then you don't have to bring out Simek, who, hell of a first punt, but my God, what happened on the second one? Honestly, just throw it 60 yards and see what happens. It's as good as an interception. It needs to happen more.
I mean, we nitpicked on that after the night practice that, we really kind of gushed over his accuracy on some of those throws. That Jarius Wright throw, the deep one to Diggs, so many throws that are just, first of all, very, very few probably under a handful of QBs in the league would attempt, let alone make successfully. Mm-hmm. So the accuracy is there for sure, but the question has always been, is he able to take those shots down the field and be comfortable with it? And I think from what I've gathered about Bradford, is that when guys are closely guarded, I don't think he fully trusts, like Stephon Diggs or maybe even Kyle Rudolph or somebody to just go up and make the catch. I think he's afraid of the interception and afraid of the turnover.
Yeah.
But he is much able to anticipate a guy coming open. Like I remember that throw against Dallas last year when Charles Johnson was running across kind of behind a linebacker in zone, and the linebacker was kind of reading Bradford's eyes as Johnson scooted behind him, and he was not open yet when Bradford released the ball. But when the ball got there, Johnson was there and able to catch. That's the kind of throw Bradford makes, but he's not there when it's a closely guarded man-to-man defense. That's kind of what I've gathered. Yeah. So maybe that's what it is, but I feel like, first of all, I think part of it too for Bradford was just playing behind the offensive line again, playing in a real game again, and I think it was those first couple snaps, Remmers, first of all, just got destroyed. And then on the next series, Rashad Hill did when it looked like Dalvin Cook was going to chip, and then he did not. And then
learning, work in progress
again. So I'm not. It's 3 series. I'm not too worried. We got
to address the fact that this offensive line is still a work in progress. By the way, like if you thought that this thing was just going to get way better overnight,
they missed the left tackle's out still. And the word is they're playing it as safe as they can here. They have a guy in Rashad Hill who's young.
Why
who has
wouldn't they?
potential.
Yeah.
Give him some snaps, and Riley Reef is their $55 million man, or 56 or whatever it is, that, he's got a minor back twinge, but why on earth would you risk it in a week 1 preseason game when you can let your young guy get some experience, and then you slide Reef in there, good to go week 1. I mean, that's all they're doing here, and I'm assuming that will, help solve some of these problems. But I mean, again, jumping to any conclusions beyond that after the first preseason game is just not the right way to do it.
Yeah. I like Drew's take earlier. I'm not going to tell you how to be a fan. You're welcome to share your opinion, but just know that I am also welcome to share my opinion, and it's not going to be a good one if you're being a bad Vikings fan. Remember, you're a Vikings fan. Like, first things first. If you're listening to this show, hopefully you're a Vikings fan. I mean, why else would you listen to this show, right? And it's not, dude, you're just being stupid by not thinking the whole thing through. I'm sorry. Like, I just need to say that. It's been pissing me off. I get mad over stupid stuff. That's what I do. It pisses me off that people don't think things through. They don't assess everything that went on in a given play. Everyone's already forgotten about the fact that Mike Remmers was paving the way for Dalvin Cook as a run blocker, which Mike Zimmer made it very, very, very clear that first things first, let's fix this running game, and then we'll start talking passing game after that.
That's the thing to remember with Mike Remmers. Like, as bad as he might look sometimes as pass protection,
right?
Dude can move people on the ground in the ground game, and he did that in camp. So we got to keep that in mind, and he won't get a glory for that either. Like, Dalvin Cook busts off a 60-plus yard touchdown reception. Nobody's going to look at Mike Remmers and say, "Wow, what a block by Mike Remmers."
He was getting to the second level too, right? Like, and that was that's what I kind of look for in terms of being a good run blocker. Obviously, the technique is very important. Getting good leverage, all of that good stuff. But just, can you get through your guy while your running back or the guy catching the screen pass or whatever, starts to get his second gear rolling? Can you get to that second level quick enough to make a difference? I think Mike Remmers can. And, dude, Dalvin Cook, like, how nice is it to have a running back that can do more than run straight forward? It's beautiful. Yeah.
He looked fluid catching passes and turning upfield, which was really nice to see, because that's not usual in Minnesota.
No, man, we've had a guy that had bricks for hands since his initial touchdown in his career. Like, this is just, we're back. Like, I know we only scored 17 points, but we are now a contemporary offense. Welcome to 2017 Minnesota Vikings. We actually have a running back that tries to block. And, he did struggle to some degree, as Drew noted, but he squares his shoulders, he gets out front, and he tries to hit dudes. I mean, that's good. We got a hard-nosed football player that, by all accounts, is not the guy that everyone said he was at FSU. And if all it takes is just taking him away from the goons that he was hanging out with down south, dude, this guy is going to be the ultimate steal. The ultimate steal. He is a top 2-3 running back from this unbelievable draft class, and he's already showing that he can slow down the game and be a patient runner, let his block set up, and get to the second level. First play, his initial carry in the NFL, 5 or 6 yards, fell forward. Welcome to the league.
Yeah, that his first 2 runs. I think they went for like an 8 or 9 combined yards, which is super unimpressive. But
I'm looking technique.
I mean, if it was Jerick McKinnon, the first man Asiata, or maybe Adrian Peterson at this age, it would have been for 4 yards, maybe.
He's big. He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's going to gain. He'll get you an extra half yard to a yard per play just by being Dalvin Cook, and that's going to help a ton on the run game by itself. So
huge. I mean, that's going to help Mike Remmers. You guys don't we talk about continuity all the time and just general just good chemistry amongst all the guys that are setting it square at the line of scrimmage. When one guy starts playing well, it affects the defense inherently. They got to start honing in on Dalvin Cook, and all of a sudden, Stephon Diggs is getting a quicker release off the line of scrimmage, and those quick slants are going for 14 yards instead of 7. This is very important. If you're going to take away anything and overreact to anything, overreact to the fact that Dalvin Cook really looks the part. Like, he seems to get it. And that's the biggest thing for rookies, is that he has come in and he gets what he needs to do to ascend to that starting running back role. That's been the number one thing on his mind since he got here. And, man, I see absolutely zero reason for Latavius Murray to be the featured back week 1 against the Saints anymore. Zero. This guy simply offers a skill set that the Vikings haven't seen since, what, Robert Smith? I mean, this is fantastic football from Dalvin Cook. Great debut. I know the numbers don't show it. This is why the show is beyond the box score, because there was stuff going on in those 4 yards runs, falling forward against linebackers that are bigger than him. That translates directly to the NFL season. Those 1 yard carries at the goal line, if you're falling forward, good chance you're going to fall into the end zone. So good for Dalvin Cook. Very impressed with him tonight. Let's talk about another guy that I was also very impressed with. Again, this is a guy that I'm going to be scoping out on the All-22. Mr. Stacy Coley, your guy. Honestly, Drew, you've been on fire with your takes lately. Like, I've given you some crap. Yeah,
Good thing this is a podcast.
Cool off. Oh, no, we got the video for that. I'm definitely putting that on Twitter tomorrow. Yeah, it seems like you nailed the Stacy Coley thing. Again, looking at things that translate to next week against Seattle, which going to be a real test if we get, anywhere close to their secondary. Good route runner, knows the playbook, knows where he needs to be, and that
Stefon Diggs 2.0. I've said it. How many shows in a row now have I said that?
It sounded absurd the first time you said it, and then the second time you said it after watching some film, I was like, all right, hot take, maybe. I guess it, loose comparison, kind of like Stefon Diggs to Antonio Brown. Why not? All of a sudden, you're seeing the technique. You're seeing those jets. You're seeing a player that, I said this on the roundtable, I'm going to repeat it. Dude, who questioned this guy's passion for football? He's out there hammering dudes. Like, he loves to play football.
He blocked balls too today.
Why did we talk, why? How did people let him slip to the 7th round because they thought he didn't like football? Dude, he's out there.
Is it part of just playing for Miami? Is that part of it? I feel like that could be part of it.
Dude, the don't care attitude down at Miami U since, the whole convicts versus Catholics or whatever crap. They just had that negative connotation about their players being jackasses. And Stacy Coley, not a jackass. Smart football player. Great debut for a 7th round pick. Still don't get why he's not catching punts, by the way.
It's not even just obviously I think the way they move is similar. Obviously I think Diggs has a certain incomparable, quickness out of cuts and stuff that I don't think it's very rare enough. I'm not comparing Coley in that manner, but they glide, they just kind of glide when they move the same way. They change directions, and the way they do it is just it's similar to me.
There's no extra thought, right? It's just fluid.
Right. It's just there's no hesitation. It's just a snap, and they're in a different direction. And then obviously they have very similar size, very similar tendencies. And they both kind of had that, the talent was there, but for whatever reason they fell in the draft. So they kind of have that chip on their shoulder type of thing. I'm telling you, and we don't know. I don't think Coley will have an impact like Diggs did as a rookie. That's being a little bit outlandish, I think. But I will say this. When Diggs was a rookie, nobody expected to see the impact he had, and he just kind of emerged from one opportunity. So I would be shocked right now if Coley didn't make the team, at least for the first 4 weeks, and if he gets an opportunity from there, who knows?
Yeah, and that Michael Floyd suspension, that helps. That could ultimately be the difference between him starting his career on the 53 and coming in accidentally and I don't know, showing up Chris Harris and proving that he's definitely the number 1 wide receiver on the team. Obviously that's not going to happen again, but it's fun to dream, and it's that dream is becoming more and more a reality. He's showing progress. This is a 7th round pick, lottery tickets, as we like to call them here. Vikings lottery tickets. It seems like might have been a little off on Elijah Lee here. I did say that he was.
But it's only one game.
Yeah, I know.
One game,
I know,
but
it's not looking. It's not looking good. It's all a training camp too. Eric Wilson, though, man, good on Jordan for pointing that out.
Yeah, that was Jordan. That was Jordan's call.
During
he
draft
did
season,
say that.
We asked him at the end of the show for his prediction, a guy that he really likes that nobody's
that
really
might
talking
that might go
about.
that might go undrafted even, and that would be a good pickup. And he
Cincinnati
specifically said
linebacker
Eric Wilson.
Eric Wilson. Yep. Good on Jordan for that. So apparently I'm always wrong now. Jordan and Drew,
Yep.
hot as hell.
Should we get to our questions?
Yeah, we could
Or
do that.
are we too soon yet for that?
No, we're good. We're good. Let's this.
We'll take a break from the 75-minute shows here. We'll get something shorter. All right, let's see. We have a couple here from Vincent Levine at Vincent Levine 9. He asked who stood out on the second and third team defensive line. I'm going to answer this one right away just because there's one guy for me that stood out, and it was Tayshaun Bauer.
That's the only guy that I have to say as well.
Dark horse. I will say, though, Jalil Johnson had a sack, and I thought that was pretty he made a nice play there. And then Ifedi Odenigbo got a couple nice pressures as well.
That's what he does.
So
pressure machine.
Yeah. Not superb against the run. That's kind of par for the course for him. But those three guys kind of stood out with Bauer leading the way. By the way, had over a 90 grade on Pro Football Focus, which I believe they rank as elite. So if you're a Pro Football Focus guy, Bauer is also phenomenal in that stat as well. So
New Austin made a great point on Vikings Territory Roundtable. I know that Pro Football Focus is a great source of information, but you didn't need a grade to know that about Tayshaun Bauer. If you watch the football game,
I know.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying universally here. You didn't need a grade. If you just watched the football game and allowed your thoughts to process for more than 14 seconds before you tweeted, you know that Tayshaun Bauer looked good at football tonight. He looks good. That's just sometimes it's just cut and dry like that, good and bad.
Yeah.
That's Tayshaun Bauer looked good. I want to say
Bauer Power.
Yeah, Power. That's used to be Mauer Power in the Twin Cities.
Yeah,
now
it still is.
Now he doesn't break 10 home runs anymore. So.
Well, did you see his? By the way, Joe Mauer, the nickname thing or whatever.
Mauer.
It's literally his last name. Most Joe Mauer thing ever.
Funny Joe Mauer story. We'll take a quick break from football. Obviously, I like to talk to you guys a lot about how great my former high school is and how Joe Mauer went there and played quarterback there. He in high school was obviously very good looking, very talented. Typical, you look at him, you're like, this guy had to have been really popular in high school, right? Didn't talk. Never talked. He sat
That doesn't surprise me.
He sat, and this is not a joke. I'm literally I'm telling you facts. He sat with a kid at lunch every single day who had a mental disability. Like, that was his crowd. That's
not a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is a bad thing. I'm giving you Joe Mauer stats. Like, he was no jock in high school. It's absolutely not a shocker in the least that this dude, his nickname is Mauer, because he's the most bland, boring dude in the world. My dad sold him a house, and he said that. Nice guy. Paid quickly. Good job.
All right.
That's it.
That's good for your
That's
dad,
Joe
then.
Mauer. So, yeah, obviously that was pretty hilarious. So, little quick.
It's also very off track, but I'll get to this. I'll just ask the second question here. Vincent Levine also asked who won round one of the center battle between Nick Easton and Pat Elflein. I will say, for one, that I noticed Nick Easton give up the pressure during the session with the ones. And then, I don't think either one was that great, but I will say that Elflein, despite the nerves, I did see a couple of nice plays from him as a run blocker. On one newbie run, he was down the field making plays, and then those goal line runs as well from C.J. Ham.
Good for him,
made a nice
by the
block
way.
as well. So
love that from
C.J. Ham,
nicest person of all
but
time.
The nicest person on the face of the earth, C.J. Ham.
Good for him.
Yeah, so I would give the edge to Elflein here, but I don't think neither one really blew me away. So
I'm going to go Elflein by default here. He's simply the guy that I watched more. There's a reason why we do the analysis show on Wednesdays. It's because I really need to just get into the film here, and like I don't want to say anything that I look at the film 15 minutes later and be like, all right, that was just that's fake news, So let me watch the tape. I'm gonna go with Elflein by default, like I said, but I'm gonna watch the tape, and I want to check this kid out because it sounded like after the kind of like the initial jitters that he sort of was able to lock in. He started seeing that Mauler from OSU show up. So I'm excited to definitely check him out. I think that's probably about all we got here, unless you have any kind of...
Yeah, one more. We got one more. I'll
do?
cut you off because we do have one more.
Great,
we got
great.
one more. Also, yeah, come on, Leslie Frazier. Watch the tape. Philip at the Phil G. That's a sweet name, actually. At the Phil G. Adams was a huge disappointment. He's kind of giving a take there. But Stacey Coley was surprisingly polished. Do you agree? So we've kind of talked about Stacey Coley before on the show. But Rodney Adams, how do you feel about Rodney Adams after this game today?
I don't get why he's the number 2 punt returner. I don't like, what are they not seeing? I was there. I watched it happen. He can't catch punts fluidly. He's not good at it. Why not just put the other guy in there that is good at it, that's also contributing in other facets of the game? You're not picking between the two of them right now. Put the better punt returner out there. Marcus Sherrills is going to be the guy week 1 anyways. He can't catch punts. I'm sorry. It's a trend. He can't catch punts. Period. Give me Stacey Coley, and yes, very fundamentally sound. That is his ticket to moving forward in the NFL. Yeah. The fact that he can run precise routes and he knows exactly what he's doing. And he can catch punts like a champion. He actually squares his shoulders. I learned how to do this, by the way, because I hung out with the long snapper and the punter during football practice because I was trash at football. And I would catch punts. I can literally catch punts in pads as well, if not better, than Rodney Adams. Granted, he's a little bit faster than me after I catch the ball, but at least I'm shooting a higher success rate. I do not get it. It baffles me. It straight up baffles me. Had to get that out of the way.
Okay, well, I'm not sure I can follow that up very well.
Good,
but
good.
When people say Adams is a disappointment and,
I wouldn't go that
not ready, I mean, the thing about it is I think the offense tonight used him primarily as a gadget guy. Mm-hmm. Basically like they would have with Cordero Patterson, which, he got a couple, he had a jet sweep on one play that went for about 10, 15 yards, and then I think another short bubble screen pass, I believe. But that's what he's going to be. He's not going to go out there and run a precise, comeback route and just drill a cornerback. So we have to keep that in mind. He and Stacey Coley are 2 different types of players. But I agree with you, Take, on the punt returner thing. We both watched it happen. Adams was literally falling over trying to field punts, and Coley
3 days in a row. 3 days in a row. No change.
And he did, for what he dropped one in this game, which I think Elijah Lee slightly bumped him, but you got to catch the ball.
Yeah, that's the only thing. Only thing you got to do as a punt return man. Your job, literally what you are paid for, everything else is extra. You got to catch the football and you got to not turn it over. You got to let the offense get the football. That's all you got to do. You got to do that.
You have never talked faster before, and that's saying a lot.
I've been listening to Eminem lately. I've been working on my speed game. I want to say one more thing about Rodney Adams. We talked about this in April. Rodney Adams, and I had the hot take that he might have more rush attempts this year than receptions. Why not? He came in to be the kick returner. He lined up at kick returner.
If he makes the team. If he makes the team.
Right. He lined up at kick returner, as everyone expected. He's fundamentally shit, as everyone expected. He's got some growing to do, as everyone expected. Don't freak out when you knew it. You knew this in April. We knew that Rodney Adams needs time. We know that he needs to work on his technique. These are things that we know and have known for quite some time. Leave the guy alone. He's working hard. He's fast as hell. He's fun to watch when the ball actually gets into his hands. And there's a reason why we call him Cordero Patterson Light. Seriously. That's just... It goes back to the overarching theme of this show. Don't freak out. But, dude, you guys know this stuff. We just got to use our brains more. Just collectively, everyone does. Everyone in the world needs to use their head more often before they talk. And I know I'm one to talk. I'm one to say, a little ironic that it's me saying that. But, let the gears churn a little bit before we break out the Colin Cowherd takes. Mitchell Trubisky for MVP? Get the hell out of here. What are you watching? What are you Skip Bayless? Because that is crap. You think one football game that's crap from an offensive lineman is bad? How about one good game from a quarterback and now he's going to the Hall of Fame? Get out. Get out. Your job is not that. Don't do that ever again. I stood up for him. I'm pissed.
And that was our show. All right.
Yeah, that is the first 45-minute episode of the About the Labor podcast in quite some time here. As always, you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play. I think iHeartRadio still. Vikings territory, of course. And make sure to check out Black Stack Brewing. Of course, that is off University, right in between Minneapolis and St. Paul. Check it out.
We will be doing a live show there. The Vikings play the Niners on August 28th, right? Is that August 28th?
27th.
27th, okay. That's a Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to do a live
Sunday night. We will be doing a live show after the game at Black Stack Brewing, so please plan to be there. We would like to meet some of you, if not all of you.
And big screen. Dude, watch the game in style. I think you might think you got a cool TV, 54 inches. This thing is, it makes your TV look like an iPad.
It's more than 54 inches.
It's like 117, I think is the number. So that's how to watch Vikings football, and obviously that will be the most important preseason game of the 2017 season against horse crap San Francisco 49ers. Should be a lot of fun. Make sure to join us. And then next show here, analysis episode. Looking forward to it. We'll be talking more about this game, but really breaking it down hard. So check out that and continue listening to the About the Labor podcast. Fun talking to you guys as always, and really excited the football season is back. Primary takeaway, remember that. Purple and gold is back on the football field. Thanks, guys.